All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into this opening day edition of the AL Central Rundown podcast. My name is Sam. I am joined today by Lee, Dan, and Ty. Baseball's back, and so are we. Not gone anywhere. We've been going strong during the off season. If you're listening to us for the first time this opening day, we just like to hang out and talk about baseball, specifically the AL Central Rundown teams. Our fearless leader, Eric, he is absent for now. We might see him in a little bit, but he is on his way back from a little family trip, so he might pop in a little bit later. But today we're going to talk about the Royals closer had an implosion of all implosions in his first outing of the year. Former White Sox had some very unkind things to say. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about a couple of young men who are making their names known early in this MLB season. And Lee, Dan, who wants to go first?
Lee, please go ahead.
I'm a little bit obsessed with Kevin McGonigal. So Kevin McGonigal made the opening day roster. Very exciting. Only 21. He is I think the youngest Tiger to make their debut on opening day since 2003. In fact, Omar Infante. Very exciting there. Opening day comes up to the bat in the first inning with bases loaded, 2 outs. First pitch he sees, lines it down the right field line for a RBI double. On his debut, he went 4 for 5 with 2 doubles, an infield single, and another single. Did not strike out until the third game after 8 at-bats. Game 2 was up to the plate with a tied game in the 8th inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs. After a 10-pitch at-bat, which was, by the way, the best at-bat any Tiger had all day, he lines the single to center for 2 RBIs. I mean, come on. He might already be the best hitter on the team. Game 3 wasn't as good. He had 3 strikeouts, one of which, to be fair, he could have challenged. But still, just taking just really good, mature plate appearances. Like, he looks... Like Riley Green said, it looked like it was his 700th game, not his first game, because just the way he's taking at each at bat, it does not look like it's his first few days in the major leagues, right? He's just, he's fouling off pitches, he's having great takes, everything that we hoped we wanted to see, and he looks like he's going to be that guy that we had hoped he was going to be.
Well, there's still plenty of time for him to take some unprofessional and immature at-bats. Do you feel like with him, are you worried at all? Let's say we're doing this podcast in July, and we go, whew, Kevin McGonigal, nice hot start there, but yikes.
I mean, maybe a little bit, but from what I've seen, I'm not concerned that this is just a hot start and then he's never going to be this good again. What I might, we might see, there's going to be a month, 2 months, 6 weeks where we're like, oh, he doesn't really look that great. But I think at this point, I trust that he is going to be able to make that adjustment just because his at-bats look so professional. Like, he's not getting fooled by pitches out of the zone. He's not, swinging wildly at things. He's very calm. He's very measured. He recognizes balls out of hand. He can foul off stuff all the time. So I'm not necessarily worried about him going down and staying down. I mean, he's a rookie. He's 21. He's going to have his moments. But long term, I feel comfortable about him.
Can I go?
Go for it, Dan.
I know you've been holding it in.
Does anybody know who currently leads the major leagues in home runs right now?
I know Murakami's second.
It's a Guardians right fielder. What I was doing is now, let me list some names off. Nolan Jones, Will Brennan, Oscar Gonzalez, Tyler Naquin, Melky Cabrera. These are gentlemen that were leading the Guardians in right field plate appearances over the course of the last, say, 7 or 8 years. That is not a good list of people. This team has been wandering the desert without a reservoir of right field offense for quite some time. The last good right fielder this team had offensively was Shin-Soo Choo, like 13 years ago. Not anymore, sir. Chase DeLauter is here. He's making me feel a lot better about some of the decisions that were made over the course of this winter as far as playing the younger talent on this team, because that is already paying dividends. DeLauter has 4 home runs in 3 games. He's hitting .357. He's creating quite the eternal rivalry between Detroit and Cleveland as far as who has the better rookie. That's going on as well. But the biggest thing to me is he hit a ball in the 10th inning last night off of Andres Munoz, one of the best relief pitchers in this league. That pitch was up and away off the plate, and he didn't even get all of it, and he's still planted in the outfield stands. He is a big, strong young man, and man, do I just hope and pray that they can keep him healthy, because that has been the one bugaboo he's had so far in his young career in the minors, is staying on the field. And if he can stay on the field, it could be a night and day type of situation for the Guardians outfield and their production. So just couldn't script up a better start to the season for him. It's been quite impressive.
One of the things that really struck me when we look at these two guys is talk about two guys who have very unorthodox ways of starting their career in MLB. You've got DeLauter, who made his debut in the postseason in 2025, second ever player to do so. Or was he the second player? Or has there been more than?
There's been a couple guys that have. I know at least if Eric were here, he'd remind us that Alex Kirilloff did it for the Twins at one point.
Yes.
There's been a couple.
A very short list of guys who have done that, and then McGonigal obviously skipping AAA entirely and going straight from the Erie Seawolves, formerly known as, to the now Detroit Tigers, getting off to a hot start. And I mentioned this to Lee before you guys hopped on. If we had a gambling sponsorship of any kind, I would suggest a bet that the Rookie of the Year for the American League is going to come out of this division. I think that would be a pretty safe bet, maybe even odds, because you've got obviously McGonigal, DeLauter, Carter Jensen, and even Ty's guy Murakami, who I'm sure he's wanting to talk about, could also be in that mix as well.
Oh yeah, it's a very exciting class. I mean, also who was it? Turners, Rayleigh, who had a home run in each of those 3 games as well.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, and this is not to take anything away from DeLauter, but the ball has been flying out of T-Mobile Park so far in this series. There's been quite a few home runs on both sides. Tanner Bybee gave up 3 in and of himself on opening day. But I kind of wonder what kind of baseballs we're using this year, and if maybe I'm getting a sneak peek of what kind of offensive environment this year's going to be in, because the ball has really traveled quite well so far in Seattle.
Why weren't they given to Petco Park? Because we had 2 home runs, 2.5 if you count McGonigal's, that would have gone out if Jackson Merrill wasn't playing in center. Like, yeah. Where are those?
Completely anecdotal on my part. Like, I could be way off base with that. It's been 3 games, but it sure seems like the ball's flying. But not for, like you said, not in San Diego.
Yeah.
I do want to mention one more thing in regards to in McGonigal's favor. I feel like DeLauter, I don't want to say the right field job was handed to him, because I don't think that's true. I think if he had a really poor spring, or something would have happened, that he wouldn't be playing every day right now. But McGonigal earned that role. Like, he was not planned to be on this roster, right? Like,
he had to fight for a role.
He did everything in his power over the course of the spring. That's why I sat here last week and said, like, he's earned it. Like, give it to him. Like, what else do you have to lose at this point? What are we holding him back for? He's been excellent. I wanted to acknowledge that, because in his favor, he knocked down the door and made it so that Detroit had no choice but to put him in that role.
Helps when you're the number 1 prospect.
Number 2, but yeah.
Number 2.
But yeah.
Helps when you're a top 2 prospect.
Yeah, if for DeLauter's sake, I'll let you know. I kind of hate Chase DeLauter already, so you're already.
Really?
Like, you know what? I'm really kind of tired of this guy.
He was 0 for 4 before the home run. Keep that in mind.
Inoffensive to me. I don't know what your issue is there, Lee.
Well, again, both of these guys have a long season to, ahead of them. So
We have played 3 games.
They interviewed DeLauder, of course, after the first game. Like our dugout sideline reporter interviewed him because of the win or whatever. And just maybe my bar is low, but I was just impressed with how well he carried himself, considering this was his first game. It felt like he had been doing that for 5 years, and so he just seems like, just like you were talking about McGonagall, very much professional. He just seemed very poised. So feel very positive about kind of his intangibles as well.
It's definitely very exciting right now for rookies. Not totally a rookie, but still new to the MLB is for Murakami. I mean, he's on pace for 162 home runs, right?
162 home runs, 100%. Yeah, and so he came in, and for the first 3 games, he's played first base. He has 1,000 fielding percentage, so we're good on that. He leads the White Sox in average home runs, OPS. Also, OPS 1.871. That's crazy. That's crazy. And then he also leads the White Sox in walks with 4. So he's not just striking out. I believe he had 2 strikeouts within either today, yesterday. But it's not all that. So he's being a very big contributor already, which is really cool to see. Now, I'll save the rest of my White Sox talk for a little bit later.
Oh, can I ask one question about Murakami?
Yeah.
I know the big knock on him coming in was would he be able to hit velocity? Have you noticed anything positive or negative with that, if that's going to be a struggle? It sure seems like if he's hit 3 dingers, that's not much of a concern.
So going back to my original thought process is that not every guy out there throws a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Now, has he gotten hits off of them? Yes. I don't think any of the home runs were, but I'd have to verify that. But when you see a guy who's throwing off-speed pitches, he's going to tee off on it. He's ran into at least one of those 3. So,
sure.
Very
I'm not going to knock a guy for getting just a regular hit off of a high fastball rather than a home run. That's not
totally.
Yeah.
And I think for him, it's just going to be over the course of the season, figuring out how are the pitchers adapting to him. He needs to keep using the project machine, I want to say it's called, where you're able to start seeing what these pitchers look like before you see them. That's going to be huge. Even our play-by-play coordinator, he mentioned something around he'd probably never seen a knuckle curve before today. So that's also something to keep in mind as well.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All 3 of these guys, obviously, we're super enthused right now. There's 158 to go here, 159 in the Guardians case. So there's going to be adjustments both ways. I think at all 3 of our cases, though, we feel pretty good about the mentality of our ball players and think they can kind of work through that stuff.
Yeah. And for Murakami, what I'd be most encouraged by is the walks, because even if he strikes out a lot, if he's also walking a lot, then that's fine, right?
He'd been at full counts multiple times. Like, it's not a strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. It's you are going through the at bat. He has a really good eye. So I mean that's all really, really cool to see.
Yeah, even if he does strike out a lot, if he's getting to pitch number 6 or 7 or 8, or if he's getting walks, then that's fine. It's okay to have strikeouts. Yeah. Lots of home run hitters have lots of strikeouts.
If I'm getting too in the weeds here, my bad, but who has been hitting behind Murakami and McGonagall? Has it been the same person, or because I know they stuck DeLauder in front of Jose, which was brilliant because he's going to see a crap ton of fastballs.
He has at a different lineup position each night, so.
So all 3 days for McGonagall, Kevin has been at position 6, and AJ said that he had him batting 6, and because he's done this before a lot with Bregman and Springer, where he starts guys for their first game at 6 so that they get their first at bat early on in the game and they don't sit there worrying about it until the 3rd inning. Behind him has been kind of just been different guys depending, because the 7, 8, 9 is very interchangeable. But I am very much assuming that either next series or very soon, McGonagall is going to be moving up from that 6th position. He's just wanting to make sure that McGonagall is comfortable being in a major league lineup to begin with. Let's not put him in the leadoff spot right away.
There's no need to rush him. There's no need to put any pressure on him, right?
Our 1 through 5 guys are very good hitters already. You know, it's not like McGonagall is the only good hitter on our team. I think
I almost
Harris
wonder if it's working, why mess with it? Just leave him there. Like,
yeah,
you want to get him more at bats if he continues to succeed. So you push him up in the lineup to get that.
It's one thing if 1 through 5 are struggling, but if those guys are running, just leave them there. It's working.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. It kind of just depends on how stuff goes and whatnot. But like Harris said when they announced the decision to that they were promoting him, he said this team is good with or without Kevin McGonagall. We just think it's better with him. So McGonagall's not coming in and being the savior or anything like that. He's just another good player to add to a already good team. So it's not a ton of pressure to move him up to the 3rd spot right away. I personally would like him to, I think 1 or 3 would be a good spot for him just because he does get on base a lot and he does hit a lot. But I mean, like I said, we'll see. It's fine for now. We'll see. AJ keeps doing this thing where he tries to make Kerry Carpenter a leadoff hitter. He did this last year to start the season. It doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work, man. Please stop. Could we not? So
I thought Glaber was pretty good there last year.
He likes to 2-spot. He pretty much always, like, I looked it up, 120 games in the 2-spot. So that's his comfortable position.
Well, I'll talk about the Royals' young rookie for a moment here. He had an impressive game today. Carter Jensen, first home run of the year in this first Royals win of the year. Solo shot, 2nd inning. Also had a sac fly later in the game to add a little insurance to the Royals' lead. Caught a nice game from Seth Lugo behind the plate. Looked pretty good behind the plate as far as I could tell. He's been DHing the first 2 games, but did get some action behind the dish, and I imagine we'll probably see him back there again at some point as we go to Kansas City for this next series. But he's looked good, and oddly enough, of these 4 guys we're talking about, he's the one who we've seen the most of, as he's the one who made his debut in September and actually got in a fair handful of games last season. So Jensen, keep it going, buddy. Let's see some more of that.
Sam, did he have any ABS challenges as a catcher today?
I don't think so. I didn't notice if he did.
I figure that's going to be a stat that we start looking at more and more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, Perez in the first 2 games was 4 for 4 in ABS challenges.
I saw a Pitching Ninja uploaded a clip just Salvi schooling the home umpire on the bottom of the zone because he did 3 challenges all on the bottom rail and they were all overturned. I think Sam might be further.
I think we lost Sam, yeah.
In retrospect, in comparison, the Guardians, I think, have been 0 for their last 5 on their ABS challenges. Something.
They lost all 3 challenges last night because they get the extra in the extras. I think if you lose 3 if you go 0 for 3 on challenges, you should lose the challenges the next game. Because
Dan, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I forget if it was opening night or the night after, but there were 4 challenges in that game, both teams, and all of them were the correct call by the umpire. Like all 4 were incorrect challenges. So yeah, Guardians have not been. I know for a fact Bo Naylor got one right at some point behind the plate. I think that might be the only one we've had. So.
I just haven't really used them a lot. There was twice in the same inning last night where I'm like, both Torque and McGonagall got strike 3s, and I'm like, they could have challenged that one. And like McGonagall obviously thought about it because he kind of went like this, but then he didn't. So I don't know how the challenge would have actually worked out. And like, I mean, when you're watching, you have a square, you got the box on the screen. It's so easy to go, oh, you should have challenged that. But like when it's the 4th inning and you're just in the moment, it's a lot harder to make that split-second decision.
So moving from ABSs to kind of our one take How are we feeling after 3 games, Lee? How are the Tigers feeling after their San Diego trip?
I mean, pretty damn good. I mean, couldn't really ask for much more, especially opening day. It was, McGonigal went 4 for 5. Dylan Dingler had a home run. Parker Meadows had a RBI single. Skubal had 6 scoreless innings. Well, not scoreless, but like
He didn't blow up like Skeens did.
Yeah, he went more than 1 inning that Skeens did. I mean, Framber in his Tigers debut looked great also. Flaherty was kind of what we expected from him, but there's only 3 runs, held up.
Was there anything that you would wish you wouldn't have seen, or something you wish you would have seen that you didn't get to see in the first 3 games?
I would like to see a little bit more from Carpenter. Is 0 for 15 with 9 strikeouts or something.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten a hit, and he's struck out a ton. Riley has 1 hit with an RBI. It was a slow grounder to first, but I'm not really concerned about him. Really, he started off a little slow last year.
Right.
But I mean, I can't really complain about the offense because we scored 8 runs on the first day and 6 runs on the second one, even though we got shut out last night. So
yeah, I think we talked about it in our Discord. It's not like they're playing a bad team. This is a playoff caliber team that they're opening against, and they played a really good series. Dan, how about you with the Guardians?
Guardians have scored 6 runs twice in their first 3 games, and coming into the year, the offense was kind of the biggest concern. So I feel generally pretty positive. A lot of that's been DeLauder, and you get a little concerned that maybe that he's carrying, but Ramirez has had a couple good games. Rocchio had a clutch hit at one point, scored a couple times, so it's not just him.
And then Hoskins too, right?
He had his first game in particular, I believe he went 3 for 3.
Nice.
So,
he had an RBI double or something I saw at one point. But he also had that stupid getting tagged, but
yeah, he on second game of the year, shallow fly ball. I mean, Randy Arozarena came in on this ball and caught it shallow left field. It was second and third, 1 out. Hoskins tried to score from third. First of all, I think I could beat Rhys Hoskins in a foot race. I figured that out in this first 3 games.
I'd love to see that.
I probably wouldn't actually, but he's pretty darn slow, and he was out by probably.
Does Savant still have that sprint speed visualizer?
I don't know if that is the visualizer.
You're going to run a 100-meter dash, and we're going to time you, and we're going to match that up against Rhys Hoskins' speed on baseball savant.
So I will do that genuinely. But
he is a sprint speed of 4th percentile with a 24.8.
Well, there you go. So he was out by 25 feet. I mean, Arozarena didn't even put much oomph into the throw. He made a routine throw to the catcher, and he was out by 25 feet. So that wasn't very good. But other than that Hoskins has played 2 games and looks solid. It's been positive returns. Like I alluded to a minute ago, the ball's been flying out of the park, so I'd like to see the pitching maybe be a little bit better in that regard. Bybee giving up 3 on opening day, which was really weird because he was good otherwise. He just made 3 mistakes and he got punished for all 3. And the bullpen's been a little bit. I liked the resilience the bullpen showed Saturday night. Cade Smith blew a 1-run lead in the 9th, but they came back. Connor Brogdon got the save in the 10th. That's been good, but not great. So the offense is the bigger concern, and the offense has been solid. So, I said let's go 3 and
you opened against the Seattle Mariners.
That's what I was going to add.
Yeah,
I said let's go 3 and 4 because we have Seattle and LA on the road to start the year. We're 2/3 of the way there already. We're 2-1 so far. So,
you're
feels good
against last year's World Series, winner. It's going to be a hard road trip. You can't really take too much out of it. Last year the Tigers got swept to start the season against the Dodgers. So.
Could be going a lot worse.
Yeah.
Sam, how are we feeling about the Royals' first series?
Mixed feelings.
Or you keep going, Sam. You're breaking up real bad for me. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, Sam for me.
Let me you talk and then come back to me in a sec.
Alrighty.
Ty, why don't you tell us about the White Sox instead?
Yeah, so our AAA team, their first game they won 19-2. the second AAA team game, we won 2-1, and then our third game for the AAA team, we won 4-3. So I feel like we're in a really good spot. So,
2028 is looking fantastic, is what you're telling
hey,
me.
no, but and I'm not taking that away from them. They've done a great so far. It's nice to see that there are guys that we knew this coming out of spring training, that there's guys ready to come up if they're called upon. Now, the problem is giving them a reason to be called upon. And this series, even though it was against the Milwaukee Brewers, who won the NL Central last year, if I'm not mistaken, and 91 games, something along those lines, Murakami was the only offense up until today, actually, where Colson Montgomery hit a grand slam, which was awesome to see. He got moved down a couple of slots, as you were alluding to, Dan, in terms of where Murakami was. Murakami actually ended up in the second spot today, right behind my drop. I really, really like that. So I'm hoping I see more of that in the future. Starting pitching has been abysmal outside of Kay, who actually pitched pretty well today. I mean, he had his first inning, first 4 batters. He just got lit up, and then after that, we were good to go. And then our bullpen is garbage. It's actual garbage. So we'll see how
Dominguez blew a save, did he not? If I'm not mistaken.
Dominguez blew a save, yeah.
Paid that guy a lot of money to come in, not do that. And
Look, if you go to 2025 through Anthony Dominguez and you go to his MLB page and you have the splits for the ninth inning, which where you're assuming where most of your highest leverage spots are, he had a 5 ERA last year. So, I don't know what these guys know that we don't know. Also, the fan base is a little bit pissed off about Ethan Katz no longer being with us as a pitching coach. What is that? Does that mean anything? Who knows? We have a lot of pitchers in AAA, so I'm expecting if this anywhere near keeps up, we're going to see some new people really quick here, and we're already missing Baldwin and Teal. I'll say that.
Hey, but you got another backup catcher.
What?
Yeah, but we also had 10
catchers.
stolen bases on us that Corey Lee wouldn't have had that issue. So anyway. Also, I just need to praise Chase Mydroff for being a wonderful leadoff hitter, and he just showed so much professionalism, and once again, just I'm so glad he's here. That's it. That's all I got. Go AAA.
We were starting off the season with, the AAA team is doing really well. You know it's going to be a long season.
Hey, don't worry. We got Miami and then Toronto next. We're going to be just fine.
I saw a Reddit exchange on the post of Yelich's home run with some of Miami fans well, now Chicago's going to be all pissed when they play us. And a reply from a Chicago fan, well, what are we going to do about it? We can't do anything.
That's terrible. Sam, I need to get out of. I need to stop thinking about the White Sox for a little bit. What do you got on the Royals?
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a lot better.
All right, cool. So the Braves came to play. That'll be the first thing I say, is that I tip my cap to them because clearly they came to play on Friday night in an opening day where they made about 4 legit web gem defensive plays against the Royals. The Royals have never done well against Chris Sale historically, so that's a piece of it as well. And opening day, you don't have it. The other team's got some juice. Braves are coming off a bad year, and I think that's a team that's got a real kind of chip on their shoulder as far as those things are concerned. Reagan's looked a little shaky. Again, he's coming off of an injury, so first start of the year, I'm not going to put too much concern into that. Second game of the year, though, the Royals scrapped together a 2-run lead going into the bottom of the ninth. Carlos Estevez comes in. There had been questions surrounding Estevez's health and his readiness to start the season. I kind of pushed those to the side, and Estevez comes in. He gives up a hit. Then there was a pop-up, and then he goes walk, single, walk, and then another single. And then there's a ball that gets hit up the middle that ricochets off his leg, infield single that scores the tying run, and then he gives up the walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the ninth inning. So Estevez is going to start the year with a 162 ERA. Good for 6 runs given up in 0.1 innings of work. So not a good start for Carlos Estevez. And the part that concerns me is not the grand slam. The grand slam, if that had been a sac fly, if that had been a single up the middle, if that had been anything else, I would feel pretty much the same. From the the only thing that concerns me there is just the perspective of, that's a fine how do you do to start the season. But everything leading up to the grand slam is what concerns me, because you have a guy who comes into the year who's got questions about his health, who's got questions about his readiness to begin the year. And you go out there, you can't control any pitch. Your velocity is down. You're walking guys on 4 pitches. You're giving up hard contact, and you just look like you look like you just woke up from a 100-year stasis chamber, and you don't know what baseball is. So it very concerning first outing for Estevez, and it's no coincidence that today the Royals were up 4-0. Schreiber gives up a solo home run in the bottom of the 8th to make it a save situation, and the Royals brought in Lucas Erceg for that save situation. Erceg had, I think, 3 up, 3 down, or he might have had a walk in there. I don't remember exactly, but he had a good, solid inning of work to get the save there.
Yeah.
Can I ask one question about Estevez?
Yeah.
Why? Okay, I understand it was the second game of the season. Why did the manager let him go that long? Any idea? He's gonna figure it out?
I guess. I mean, it's the second game of the year also. So you have, I guess, the logic would be, here's a guy who, let's see how he does in his first outing, again, with all these reports of whatnot. Let's see how this goes. Let's stick with him. And
it went.
I mean, again, but the thing is, you've got the bases loaded and 1 out in a 2-run game, or in a 1-run game. You bring in another guy, like you're expecting him to come in and now you're putting another guy on the hook for, potentially a bad start to his season. So I think it's just a product of, he's a guy who, again, saves are a fabricated statistic, as my dad likes to say. Saves were invented by man, not God. So he had 42 of those last year. He led MLB in saves. But you can get a lot of saves in a year, and that does not necessarily mean everything.
Yeah, a guy with 42 saves is not necessarily better than a guy with 30 saves.
Yeah. And again, the Royals had 82 wins last year, and Estevez had 42 saves. So he had a save. Over half of the Royals' wins last year featured a save by Carlos Estevez. So I do think he is definitely has shown that he's a good player, and I think we're probably going to see him again in a low leverage situation in this series coming up against the Minnesota Twins. And I predict that his ERA will go down the next time he pitches.
That's a bold prediction, by the way.
Yeah. But
Hard to
I
go
think
up from.
it would be very difficult for that to go up. But I think I predicted that maybe we see Urseg supplant Estevez in that closer role. And if the first time Estevez comes out in the season and he just doesn't have it, I would rather have that happen in game 2 than in game, 162. So I think he is going to, I think he'll be put out there again unless they just put him on the injury list right now. If he goes out there again and he can't do it, then I think we're probably going to see him land on the IL. But I think for me to lose that game in such just like it's like the Blues Mobile, it's like just the whole thing just falling apart in one go. I would rather see that than just, little by little them, if he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. So, and there was a potential that the ball that got hit off his leg goes up the middle. Bobby Witt Jr. gloves it for a double play. Now, would you rather win the game or lose the game? You'd rather win the game. But if that happens, then maybe the Royals learned the wrong lesson from that.
Was there any positives to take away from the series? Obviously, Atlanta being a hard-fought team, opening against Sale. Is there something that you like to see?
You bounce back. You bounce back and save the series after losing on a walk-off grand slam. So,
one thing I think is interesting about this is, obviously, like Ty, you asked about, why'd they leave him in there? Well, Carlos Estevez saved 42 games last year. He was an established closer for the Royals. So to kind of turn and run away from your guy because of one bad outing, I could see the argument of why you wouldn't want to do that. But the fact that the very next day they go to Urseg instead says to me, red flag. Like, there is, it's not, something's wrong here. Like, this isn't just, he went out there and it wasn't his day kind of thing. So,
but I like Sam's take on bringing him back out against Minnesota. And honestly, if he does do anything near what he did last night, we need to have more conversations. Is there an IL stint? Is something else going on? But I guess I will say for you, Sam, for me, it would bring comfort to know that as a team that wants to make the playoffs, like you already have someone you could slot in that role if you needed to. So,
and we've discussed the Royals pitching depth this year. If the Royals lose Estevez, you can survive that, right? They can bring up Luinder Avila, who's, a guy that they seem to really like. You can bring him up. You can reshuffle things around in the bullpen. I don't have – and here's the other thing. Matt Strom looked good in the 2 games he pitched. Lucas Urseg looked good in the 2 games he pitched. Alex Lang looked good in the game that he pitched. John Schreiber, despite giving up the home run, he looked good. So the Royals have Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo looked good. All these guys looked good. So you have some positives to go in with the real, catastrophically large negative. But you know what? The other thing is the Dominic Smith, tip my cap to you, first player in MLB history to hit a walk-off grand slam in his team debut. And apparently his mother passed away last week. So at least there's a positive storyline somewhere in there.
Yeah, what you were saying about Estevez earlier, it's not like the Royals season was hinging on Estevez's being successful. No.
And most teams their season does not hinge on their closer.
The one thing I wanted to kind of allude to there is there's a certain lucidity too that sounds like the Mike Q and the coaching staff has there, where like you're not going to be fumbling around forcing Estevez into ninth innings for a month trying to prove that he's still okay. It seems like there's maybe you give him another shot against Minnesota, like you were saying, but this isn't going to be an ordeal where he gets an opportunity to blow like 6 games before a move gets made. And,
You have
there's
other
a positive
guys.
to that in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this
It's a real binary situation.
Yeah.
It was, it was a 1 or a 0 with Estevez, and he came out and there was a 0. So, and again, I think they'll put him out there again just to see what happens. And if he goes out there and walks the first guy on 4 pitches, I think we might see the athletic trainer come out and walk Estevez out to, back to the dugout.
Yeah, and maybe this is kind of weird, but like personally, if I was a Royals fan, I would want tomorrow to see a notification of Carlos Estevez is on the 15-day IL with forearm tightness or something.
Mhm.
Just like
I mean,
it would just feel better to be like, oh, it was just like a small nagging injury. It's something minor, but there's an easy explanation for why he was this bad. It's not just that he sucks now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But again, I think the number one positive is that the Royals saved the series and did indeed bounce back, and were able to get their first win of the year this afternoon. So again, we'll go starting and maybe starting the year with those 2 games is a nice, reminder of the sort of, I don't know, volatility of the MLB season. Because I think we got a lot of guys who were coming off WBC, a lot of guys who were feeling high on themselves, and maybe this will be like a, hey, it's game time now. WBC was a fun summer camp. Now it's time to go.
Did our boy Vinny do anything? I didn't actually look at any.
Vinny had a RBI single today. So he had 2 hits today. So he looked pretty good. So
no espresso in the dugout, just make
no espresso in the dugout, unfortunately. Not that I noticed at the very least. So
I also just want to do Eric some justice and cover at least minimally the Minnesota Twins. And I gotta say, I put it in our Discord for our group. I saw that the Twins were winning today, Sunday. I think it was 4-2 at a certain point, and I made a comment. I said I'm gonna be really angry if they end up winning 2 out of 3 from Baltimore. And I want to say not even 20 minutes later, Eric messages back, well, you don't have to worry about that. And they lost 8-6 today. They lost 2 out of 3 to Baltimore, which the fact they even got 1, does that surprise anyone else?
I don't know what to make of Baltimore yet, quite frankly. Like they kind of underachieved last year, and
I mean, they do have guys. They do have guys,
yeah, they do.
And they added Alonso. Like, or we're just underselling the Twins, and Eric would be here saying, just watch, it's gonna go.
I think Baltimore is going to be good this year. I think Baltimore is going to be the sort of bounce back team, and they're gonna make the playoffs. And I think someone in the AL East is going to get left out in the cold because Baltimore snags a spot.
Yeah,
I think the entire AL East is stacked.
Except for the Rays.
I know.
And the Rays aren't even that bad. They're just kind of average, but everyone else in the division is just so good.
I think one of the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Jays, I think one of those 3 teams is going to get left out of the playoffs this year.
I agree with that.
And I think a team like the Royals or like the Guardians or the A's will jump up, and the Rangers will jump up and grab a playoff spot, and we're going to hear sour grapes from Boston or New York, and they're going to go, oh, we played in the hardest division. Oh, they don't deserve it. We do. That's exactly what's going to happen
And you still
in
just like 'em.
October.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
what happened in 24. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Essential had 3 teams, and all they did was complain about the fact that we only got in because we were beating up on the White Sox.
Which
Yeah,
wasn't even
so-
true.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think the O's to answer the question. I'm high on them this year.
Also, speaking of beating up on the White Sox, we got just a quick report. We got Luis Robert doing a post-game interview talking about how filled the stadium was and how happy he was to be on the Mets. And AJ Przinsky, bless his soul, calls him out. It's like, what are you talking about? People would have shown up if you guys were good, if you weren't injured all the time. This is such a hard thing for me because I've been checking his box scores every day. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Like, I want him to be good. I wanted him to be good for us. But apparently the Mets are doing something that we couldn't do. And the fact that he's talking, I don't think he was talking shit, to be honest. It was more of just like, it was nice to have a full stadium. I get it. You like loud environments. You like it when it's everyone's here rallying behind you. You have a team. I mean, he was batting 6th, and he had I think a 3-run home run to win a walk-off in extras against Pittsburgh in Game 2, I believe. So it's a nothing burger, but I honestly, like, come on, like, don't even talk about the White Sox. Just act like you were never here, and then whatever you do with the Mets, that's what you do.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this here before, but I don't know if you were here when I did. This is a side tangent, but it's related, I promise. In 2021, the Lions sucked, and they had sucked for a long time. This is 2022, I'm sorry. They traded TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings. At the time, the fan base was like, oh, it's okay. We really like TJ. I hope he goes on to have a great time, even though he's a division rival, blah, 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 etc. Then the next post-game interview that Hawkinson gave, he said, I can't wait to be winning. And then from then on, the Vikings proceeded to lose the next 5 games they played against the Lions every single time for years. The Vikings won the games against them the last 2 times in this season. But for 3 years later, Lions fans were still going, how's all the winning going, TJ? So.
Well, and I mean, the Mets are the Mets. Low Mets is a thing. So if any team was going to shut down, it would be this one. And when he starts getting booed, that's going to be real. I just saw a post-game interview.
Do the Mets come to Chicago this year, or is it the other way around?
I believe they do in August, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, it'll be.
Right.
But he'll be on the IL. We already talked about this a couple weeks ago. So it's
true.
like, Once again, I want the guy to do well. I mean, more power to him. Just let's leave Chicago alone, okay? We're having a hard enough time as it is.
I don't perceive the White Sox as a bad fan base whatsoever. Like I also just think that his statement is bullcrap to begin with. Like,
I mean, we show up when we're winning for the most part, and that's the other thing is that you also have when the Cubs are losing and we're winning. People will. Oh, I'm a Sox fan now, I guess.
nice.
So, I just wanted to make that comment about Luis Roberts' post-game interview.
No, yeah, I'm like, okay, dude, chill. Come on. Yeah. It just immediately reminded me of the Hawkinson thing, too, because I'm like, dude, seriously, this is going to bite you. I mean, Mets fans have already started booing Bo Bichette, so I anticipate it will not take much.
He did a great post-game interview where he's like, yeah, my at-bats have been terrible, and I'm going to do better. Like, at the end of the day, that is the best baseball answer you can give. Just agree and move on.
Don't start picking fights with the fans via post-game interviews. It's not.
Who's played center field for the White Sox so far?
Acuna, I think Hill, Pereira.
How's that experience going? Not that good.
I mean, Pereira actually showed up. He got a single and a home run today, so I don't know where that came from.
Okay.
We don't have Acuna played shortstop yesterday. They moved Colson Montgomery to third, So it's like, hey, we're the number 1 draft pick coming up. Colson, you might want to get some reps. Or at the same time, hey, Colson, we're going to move you over there anyway. We're going to get Sam Antonazzi up here, who's also
Colson's
getting
body type.
He's
I
been
can see
playing
him at
left
third.
field for the last 3 games, if I'm not mistaken, in AAA. So you could see that. I will say, outfield situation, the thing that, obviously the guys we have on the team, Hill, Pereira, all of them are Peters. I'm not worried about what they do in the field. It seems like in general they're going to be really good. What really pissed me off this series was Benintendi had a ball drop in front of him that he, one, either if you can't get there, you shouldn't be out there, or 2, why aren't you trying harder?
Put a little
Because
bit more.
you said your legs were in the best condition that they've been in. So that was a makeable play. I mean, if you're too old to run that ball down, I don't know.
Talking about Gold Glove outfielder Andrew Benintendi.
More like bronze glove.
Bronze
We were talking
legs.
We were talking about the Twins a minute ago. I just wanted to acknowledge they've had a couple games. I know the pitching was going to be, at least their bullpen was going to be one of the concerns. First 2 games, they allowed 1 run and 2 runs, which, hey, could do a lot worse. Baltimore's got a decent offense. Joe Ryan in particular went 5 1/3, no earned runs. That's what you were kind of expecting out of him. It's kind of the other guys you're worried about. But that bullpen blew up today a little bit more so, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Hey, Royce Lewis has 2 home runs on the season. So is that
good start for him.
Can we
he's
talk
been-
about Derek Shelton getting ejected today? Because it was really funny. I was watching this game from the Baltimore broadcast. So it was like in the 8th. It was in the 8th inning, I believe. The Twins had 1 on, 1 out, and then whoever was up to bat for the Twins was walked. I forget who it was, but then a Baltimore pitcher had started to walk off because he thought it was a strikeout, and then doing the post K strut or whatever, and then he was like, "Oh, you called it a strike? Let me challenge it." Shelton got pissed because he was saying the pitcher challenged too late. He shouldn't have gotten that challenge because it was a strike. It was not a ball. And then it was going to 2 outs. He was like, he came out yelling. He was like, that should not be a challenge. It was, it's too late. But you look at it. I mean, the pitcher challenged it pretty much right away as soon as he realized it. And then the Baltimore broadcast said, he's arguing with the robots. You can't beat the robots, which was instant all-timer. So I thought that was very entertaining and kind of interesting. And I do think we'll see a lot more of not arguing balls and strikes, but arguing over whether or not he should have been able to challenge.
That's going to be a major plot point, yes.
Yeah, we've already
The
seen
timing
that as well. Yeah.
the timing of all this, I think, is going to be very crucial to the overall outcome of these things, because the rule says it has to be immediate, quote unquote.
Because I think it was yesterday or the day before, there was, I forget who it was, but some batter challenged it like a second after the call. But the umpire said it was too late. And you look at it and you're like, no, that was pretty much immediate. So
that's up to their discretion at that point, though.
Yeah.
The way I've heard it explained is the first motion that the player has to make has to be it can't be, oh, I'm doing Justin stuff. It's immediate in that aspect. We're replacing a judgment call of a ball or strike with a judgment call of what's really causing all this friction in the world, or in the baseball world in this case, is judgment calls. We're going from replacing a judgment call of a ball or strike to a judgment call of if that was immediate or not, which will lead to things like what Derek Shelton did today.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel kind of about the gamification of this system in the first place? Like, you get 2 challenges and you have to pick and choose how you're going to use them, and so on and so on. I like it. I don't know if anybody else has an opinion.
I 100%, if you're going to have this system in place, this is the way to have it. And I know Sam mentioned preseason that this just leads to fully automated. Call me old school. If you're going to improve the system, get it to this point to where the really egregious thing can be overturned, leave it alone. You fix the problem. If a team puts themselves, Guardians, where they waste 3 calls and they really need that last call, you did it to yourself, dude. You know that the umpires are going to struggle sometimes. And honestly, that's the other thing. Keep in mind, I want to say the overturn rate is like 56%. It's not.
It's not like
I've been
not
pleasantly,
crazy.
I've been
Like,
pleasantly
give these guys
surprised
some
with how
credit.
often the umpires have been right, even on challenges. Yeah.
But there've been times where I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh, that umpire got that wrong. And I'm like, oh, I guess he did it. And it's pretty clearly correct. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm an idiot. So
And it just goes back to when you talk about framing. And I think we talked
This
about
is-
Perez earlier, where it's like
Mhm.
if you're fooling the batter, the umpire, and the pitcher, who cares? Like that's
Crap,
it.
yeah.
Like
well,
That's- That's my thing on this. Like, I've kind of lamented that this is going to potentially be the death of catcher framing in the long run. But if we can keep this system where you still get some catcher framing, and you also now have added, my thing is like more ways that players can affect the game. Like, more ways that we've now added a way that a player can affect the game with being good or bad at doing these challenges. To me, this is a net positive if we keep this system.
I think it was a CB Buckner that had 2 overturned strike calls in a row, and he looked
Mhm.
so irritated during it. It was, God, the entertainment value is unmatched. I mean, I think it was yesterday's game or maybe the day before, a Rosarena like challenged one and then he was like already walking to first because he was so confident. When are we gonna see that happen? But then they're wrong.
Oh, can't
Yep.
wait.
As I've said, there's going to be some great memes that come out of this, and that's the thing that I'm really looking forward to is the sort of, whether it's the batter or the umpire, kind of just the embarrassment quotient of this new system. I think has a lot of potential for entertainment.
Yes, the entertainment is limitless. There's so many different possibilities.
And I will say also, if you've got a guy who's behind the plate or a guy who's at the plate who just has a really good sense of the strike zone, I mean, that becomes a real weapon that you have that you can use. And it just adds another layer to, I think, again, catcher framing is something that has kind of been quantified recently. But I think this, as we go forward this season, players who can really weaponize this are going to add a lot to their MLB The Show rating will go up as a result of their ability to do this, I guess.
gotta affect that vision stat.
Something I thought was really interesting. I was driving home from a friend's house last night, and I've got Sirius Radio. I had the MLB network on the Sirius Radio, and they were talking about the Yankees and how, I forget, one of the games this weekend, it seemed like the Yankees weren't challenging the calls, but maybe they were making like a signal to the dugout about like, I thought about it, and you guys look that one up later and see if I would have been right or not. And this is all like alleged secondhand, not confirmed, but that's really interesting. If like teams are now doing their own kind of like experimentation with like verifying themselves without actually using the challenges and like getting more of a sample size for themselves, just teams are going to be able to kind of use this as a weapon too, it feels like, potentially.
Something interesting I saw, I forget who it was that suggested it, I think I might have just seen it online, was potentially adding another stat for pitchers in terms of overturned strike calls, where if your pitch is so good and it looks like a strike, but it's overturned into a ball, is that worth something, right? I think that's kind of interesting. It'll be interesting to see what new stats do get pulled out of this. Are we going to do?
Teams are always
Majors
looking
did
for an
something
edge. They'll find
around
something.
deception. Trevor Majors did a really good video on that.
Yeah. I also think one of the things is it adds another moment of, because I think a lot of times with replay in sports, people complain about like the spontaneous, moment of the game being slowed down. I think with this, I was driving home, listening to the Royals on the radio. Schreiber in the bottom of the 8th inning had a called strike 3 to end the inning on the Braves batter. And it was like, yeah, strike 3, he's out. And then he challenged it, and it's like, oh, and then there's another like build up, and then it was confirmed, and it was so it's like you get to have kind of like, I think this happens so quickly that there's sort of 2 moments of excitement that are potential here, which I think will add a lot to, if we see this happen in more big game situations, I think that will add to the enjoyment of watching the game rather than taking away. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want more excitement rather than less.
Does anyone have a take on audiences booing correct calls?
I was just about to bring that up. During the Tigers game yesterday, Benetti was like, Petco keeps booing the ABS system. It was extremely funny.
You can only throw over to first base 1 or 2 times now, and fans still boo that. So, like,
Yeah.
fans are going to be fans. Like, I'm for it. If you don't like the call, even if it's evidently right.
You see, when my team throws over to first, they're being strategic and smart. When the other team throws over to first, they're being douchebags, and we should all boo them for it. No, it's very fun. I've really enjoyed the introduction of the ABS system so far. Let's see. Do we want to talk about Bibee with the shoulder inflammation?
Let's talk about that. So I alluded to Tanner Bibee earlier in this show about pretty solid outing. He went 5 innings. He did give up 3 runs, all solo home runs, opening day against Seattle. He looked good. His pitches had movement, looked strong, looked like his velocity was up. And like I said, he made the 3 mistakes and he paid for them. But he had started throwing his warm-up tosses for the 6th. I think he was somewhere around maybe like the 75 pitch mark at that point in time. And he ended up exiting the game rather than finishing those warm-ups. And so he was replaced, and it later came out during the course of that broadcast on Thursday night that he was experiencing right shoulder inflammation. And so that's always a gigantic red flag, or at least it can be, in that, that's the moneymaker there with that right shoulder. And the immediate reaction is, oh no. Is that rotator cuff? Is that labrum? Is that any number of catastrophic things it could possibly be? However, they did some initial testing that night, and it just seemed like soreness, quite frankly. He threw his bullpen on Saturday, which would have been 2 days after, which for most pitchers, that's kind of like your regular routine. He threw a 26-pitch bullpen in full, no issue. And so, but the one thing is the Guardians have not announced if he will make his next scheduled start or not. This early in the year, just wanting to be careful, it may be very, well, he'd probably pitch against LA. So I was going to say it could be cold, but it probably won't be cold in LA. The point being, they may go the precautionary route here and have him skip a start. It doesn't sound like this is going to lead to, oh, he's going to miss the season or 3 months or anything like that. This seems like an abundance of caution. He was feeling something that felt a little bit irregular. And, my most likely takeaway here is I wouldn't be surprised if Logan Allen makes his next start for Tanner Bibee. They have the ability to do that. Allen is somebody that, wasn't going to be in the rotation to start the year. But then I think this is probably like a 1 miss start type of scenario at this point in time. So could have been a lot worse, and, shouldn't be a long-term issue. Hopefully we'll see if this kind of lingers as the season goes on.
Outside looking in, I'd 100% want them to skip his start in LA. It doesn't make any sense. It's not worth it, because even if he does go out there and he does feel good and he gets lit up, like,
yeah,
Logan Allen is good enough that it's not like a huge drop off in terms of talent or performance. It's for 3 games into the season, just rest the guy.
Agreed.
I think Tanner Bibee pitching in LA is a great idea, and they should do it.
What's your justification on that, Sam? We'd love to hear.
I think that'd be a really good managerial decision. Just put your guy right back out there.
Well, I will say to what Lee was saying, I do think watching this team every day, I feel a lot more confident in the Guardians winning a game in LA with Tanner Bybee on the mound than Logan Allen. I do. But in game 6 of the season, I'm okay with Logan Allen making that start. I get Lee's point. Like, Logan Allen isn't a bottom of the barrel pitcher. He's a league average starter last year.
He would. I mean, on most, I
He'd be
feel like
fine.
on most MLB teams, he would be on the starting rotation.
He's a good 4 or 5 for a lot of teams. I agree.
It just sucks to get your opening day starter out of the season.
He
this
at
early.
least made the start this year, which was not the case last year. Maybe he shouldn't pitch opening days because something seems to go wrong every time. But he did at least. He pitched a 5-inning. He made a 5-inning outing out of it.
I talked about rookies. Could I talk a little bit about the 2 other Tiger additions from the offseason in Framber and Kenley?
Go.
All right, so they both made their Tigers debut for Game 2. Framber, we talked about him being an extreme ground ball pitcher. He is an extreme ground ball pitcher. We got a lot of ground balls from him. And like right away in the lineup construction, you could see that from Hinch because he DH'd Torres. He put McKinstry at second and did have Keith in the lineup, but he pinch hit him in later. It was McGonigal at third, Javi at short with McKinstry at second. So just right away you can see. I think we're going to get a lot more of Torres DHing during Framber's starts just because ground ball pitcher plus below average second baseman defensively isn't exactly a good combination, and I think that's fine with it. What I take issue with is the fact that he put McKinstry in at third in the lineup, but AJ Hinch is deranged when it comes to lineup construction, but, whatever. But, I mean, Framber looked great. Lots of ground balls. It was 2 runs, 1 earned run because the infield defense is a fucking mess. There were 4 infield singles. It was extremely annoying. But, I mean, yeah, it was pretty much exactly what you could have hoped for his first start. He went 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. I mean, he looked great. There were a couple deep fly balls. There's a lot of stuff that made contact, a lot of stuff that squeaked by, but a lot of, very quick innings. In the 5th inning or 6th inning, he had like an 8-pitch inning, which is great if you can keep, if he's doing that late on when going through the lineups the 2nd or 3rd time, he's going to continue to go deep into lineups. I mean, he threw 83 pitches before Hinch took him out, but early in the season, Hinch tends to be kind of cautious about that. So I am highly encouraged by that first appearance. And then Kenley Jansen came in the 9th. He looked amazing. I mean, he's at save number 23 away from that mark, but he looks like he'll hit milestones this season. He threw 11 pitches, got 3 strikeouts, 10 were strikes. Like, it was pretty damn good. So I am extremely encouraged just by those 2 outings to start off with. Our bullpen looks like it's going to be in great hands. That is.
He's at 478 currently. Jansen is.
He's exclusively been the closer so far because I know there's been some, wishy-washiness from Hinch. I know he likes to mix and match.
He's only made the 1 appearance so far. Let me double check who it was yesterday because I don't remember. Because for game 1 we were so far ahead. We were up by 8 after the first 5 innings that it was really just him experimenting with some of the guys we got from KBO and stuff like that. And then yesterday, I think it was Vest that came out. So it's just, he had to make sure that he got, pitchers playing because we have the rest day today. But I think we're going to see a lot of Kenley coming in the 9th type of thing.
Got you.
Yeah, Kenley was the guy he went to when we're up only by 3 in the 9th inning. So I think that's kind of going to be what we see.
Hinch finally has a closer.
Yeah.
I've got one other topic. I think we've hit most of what we want to hit. Am I right? Am I wrong?
I think
Yep.
so, yeah.
Has anybody else had any national TV games yet to this point? This
I
is
had
not
one last night on Fox.
But that was Fox, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
This is not a
Over the air.
So the Guardians in their first 4 games, they're playing right now. Actually, as we're recording this, it's about 8:15 Eastern time right now. At the time we're wrapping up this recording, they're 0-0. The bottom of the third just ended. But tonight's game is the second game in 4 games so far where they have been not just in a national broadcast, which is in a way prestigious, and I respect that, but has been behind a paywall. Friday night, they were on Apple TV. Today, they're on Peacock. 2 completely different streaming services that are on top of whatever you're paying for in order to see them in the first place, which is either Guardians TV, or if you've got cable, or myself, I'm on a streaming TV service, DirecTV Stream, that has them. And I can't think of a way to really knock the wind out of people's sails about a baseball team more than to have them be behind a paywall like that twice in the first 4 games. Like, I don't know. Maybe
is
I'm
it
making
not-
an out of the hill here, but go ahead, Sam.
Is it not over the air on NBC?
I don't think they are. No, I mean I can
Okay.
verify, but it looked like it was Peacock.
Because I know
According
the
to,
Sunday night.
on the internet.
I know the Sunday night games this year. I think most of them are like over the air on NBC.
Yeah,
I think the
Because Benetti's doing those,
Diamondbacks
right?
Dodgers one, I had to go to YouTube TV for that one on
Mm-hmm.
Thursday or whatever. I couldn't watch that one on MLB TV, so I don't know what I think I don't know.
I mean, one, I'm gonna, sarcastic comment out of the way first. Dan, instead of signing up for all these streaming services, you could just go to Seattle.
I mean I will say they're in the same place. Well, at least from a TV perspective, it's not just a Guardians issue. Seattle's in the they were in the ALCS last year, Ty. If anybody's going to be excited about their baseball team, it's going to be a team that barely missed the World Series. And guess what? They can't watch their team either. So, to your point, yeah, I could have flown out to Seattle to watch this game tonight. Chose not to do that. Thank you very much. But it just feels like a way. It's not going to stop me from trying to follow them, but I could sure see somebody who's a little less engaged. No, by the way, Sam, the New York Knicks and Oklahoma City Thunder are playing Sunday night basketball.
I see. There we go.
So it's a
But
Peacock exclusive instead tonight.
Just to piggyback off of your comment, Dan, like, it is bad for the sport. I 100% agree. If you want, as the sport continues to try to grow and become more global, putting it behind paywalls is not going to support
We can't keep
that.
doing this.
And while I agree, I'm not even that upset about being behind a paywall. If the Guardians had one of these 4 games beyond an exclusive streaming service, fine. But doing it twice in 4 games, just like, pick a different team. Why are you picking on these two? I know you're not purposely picking on these 2 fan bases, Uncle Rob, but like, why are you subjecting these 2 fan bases in particular twice in this opening weekend to this situation?
Surprised
It
the Dodgers
frustrates me, honestly.
weren't one of the 2.
I mean, they were on the
Yeah.
Fox or NBC or what?
They were on the opening night one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Netflix.
I will say I was talking to my parents about this the other day, and I think they were buying the Royals MLB TV package for the year, which, by the way, I will say that MLB TV experience, the user interface, the app, the product, everything, so much better than the
I just
FanDuel
like-
/ Bally Sports product.
I just like being able to watch it on the MLB app on my phone rather than have to go to the FanDuel app on my phone when I'm
Mhm.
at work.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so
And
much-
when you're watching it on your phone, like it goes down into a window very easily. Like it's great, but there's a lot of very user friendly creature comfort type things in the MLB TV presentation versus the Fox Sports / Bally / FanDuel et al. Presentation.
Scorebug. I forgot how much I hated that.
Yeah,
FanDuel
but anyway.
one. Sorry. Go ahead.
My parents were purchasing that, and we were talking about this, and the Royals put out some sort of like broadcast schedule where they showed like which games were on which platform throughout the year. And it is, difficult to, it would be nice if they were all in one place. But 149 out of the 162 games that the Royals are going to play this year are going to be on the Royals TV app. And about, I think, like another of those 13 games that are missing, there's going to be a handful that are on national over-the-air TV, Fox, NBC. And then there's going to be about 5, 6, 7 games that are going to be on Apple TV or on Peacock or what have you. And I don't know, if you're getting your team 157 or 156 games out of 162, and there's 5 or 6 games in the year that you have to miss or that you have to go to Stream East to watch. I don't think that's, I don't turn the radio on, do whatever. I don't think that's the end of the world that there's going to be. And especially for $100, you get 95% of your team's games on one platform. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, Dan. It would be nice if just everything was in one place, but it's not, it's not like every other game you got to switch to some other thing.
Sam, I agree with you on everything except for the first 2 of the first 4 games. This is the time of the season where you need to ramp up viewership. You need to make people want to watch. But I agree with everything else.
95% of the games, absolutely. 50% of the games so far, oh man, that's too much. That's really what I'm getting at, is like, that just feels like lost momentum that every other game so far hasn't been viewable at this point in time.
I mean,
at the start of the year.
For like Guardians TV and like the Detroit Sports Network as those, I know for like the monthly, I bought the yearly one because I wanted to watch the Red Wings as well with that. But like it gives you it says, oh, it's the first 5 games free until April 1st, just because you're not paying the month of March. However, for Guardians fans, and for like Guardians ownership or whoever's controlling that, it's like, oh, we want them to be able to watch the first 5 games free. And then hopefully they pay money to be able to watch the rest of them. You're not going to get as many subscribers if half of the games can't even be watched. So it's not as much of from their end, it's not as much of a pull in order to...
Imagine being somebody who's not that plugged into how this works, and you buy Guardians TV the day before the season starts. And you're like, I'm going to try this new thing out. It seems like a good deal. And then that first weekend, you can't watch 2 of the 4 games. You're going to think you got ripped off. And that's going to stick in your head. First impressions matter. So just pick a different team for today. That's all you need to do. Like, just don't do it all 2 out of 4 times.
Or imagine that you're my 85-year-old grandparents and you have to have this explained to you.
Dude, for the Detroit Sports Network broadcast, for the Detroit Sports Network thing, I had to call my dad and explain to him how that worked. And like he's not like old man, doesn't know how to do tech. He's like actually pretty tech savvy. And I had to call him and explain just how this worked to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, because he kept texting me like, oh wait, I'm like, just call me. It was, it's just too complicated nowadays.
Yep, I agree. But that's the way it is in this sort of Wild West world of streaming that we're in. Unless anyone has anything else, I think we can dive into the schedules, into our first prediction of the year.
I like it.
All right. Do we have the schedules ready to be pulled up, or do we need to get that?
Well, I know that let's just go with this then first while we do this. The Royals are playing the Twins in their next series. So that starts tomorrow. There's going to be a game on Monday, followed by a day off on Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday. Bark at the Park on Wednesday in Kansas City if you want to bring your dog to the game, apparently. Let's just go into those predictions. Dan, Royals, Twins.
I like to have a little nugget to provide of information with these, but it's just too darn early in the season to do that sort of thing. I'm just going to go ahead and pick, and I'm going to go ahead and pick the Royals to win 2 out of 3 here.
All right. Ty?
I also want to go Royals 2 out of 3 here.
Lee?
I think I gotta go Royals as well. I feel bad that we're all picking on the Twins, but you know, they haven't exactly given us a lot to work with here.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 2 games or all 3 games, Lee?
It is 3 games.
Yeah,
Oh.
are they going to win all? They're going to win all 3?
I honestly I think so. I don't know why.
Okay.
I feel like the
Because they're the
Royals
better
are
team.
I feel like the Royals are coming off of that Braves series with something to prove. They're gonna beat up.
And you may or may not have to go against Joe Ryan in this first series.
Ooh. Yeah.
So I will go with the Royals. Obviously, I think we need to bounce back. Chris Bubich is going to come out strong tomorrow. Noah Cameron is going to do the same thing on Wednesday. And then Cole Reagans is going to bounce back on Thursday. So I am looking forward to seeing that from the Royals. Eric did go ahead and he picked the Twins to win this series. So I think we're all going to see Eric going to start the year in the hole as far as predictions are concerned.
I will say that the one anecdote I can add to this is I looked at the next 3 games. I looked at pitching matchups versus batters, and Kansas City has faced a lot of these Minnesota pitchers, and they've performed against them. I think that's also shown by the first game Monday is showing as over 9.5 for the run total. So I think that'll be really interesting to see if you're ready to watch the Royals tee off on some Minnesota pitching.
And I'm ready to see that.
1 year ago, Royals teeing off on anybody was a hard thing to believe in. And so times are changing.
Yep. As for... Go ahead, Lee.
No, I was going to do the same thing that you're about to do, I think. Talk about the next schedule for the rest of the division.
Yep, and as we know, the Guardians are going to play the LA Dodgers coming up for a weekday series, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll see what the weather's like in LA for the Cleveland Guardians. And then they're going to face off against the Cubs in a weekend series at home. That's going to be their home opener, right?
Yes, sir. That'll be opening up the season in Cleveland, correct?
Dan,
and you will be
a message to make sure they win that series. Thanks.
Hey,
you'll be on the ground, boots on the ground in Cleveland for that series, if I'm not mistaken, Dan.
I appreciate you trying to manifest that, but I'm afraid that won't be the case. I'll probably be working that day.
Okay. Well, the Twins, they have the Royals, of course, coming up next. Then they have a home date, Twins home opener as well for the Tampa Bay Rays. And best of all, they've got $2 beers on Saturday. That'll make...
If that's not a please come to the ballpark promotion, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, that makes the 999 challenge a little bit more doable when you go to the game. So they've got the...
It's going to be 43 degrees outside, and people are not going to want to be drinking any beer on that day. I mean, some people will, I'm sure, but that does not sound like my idea of a good time, quite frankly.
Well, you got to warm up somehow, right?
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the capacity of people at a baseball game to drink beer.
Fair.
Anyway, the Tigers have the Diamondbacks for a 3-game series coming up. And then they will have their home opener on Friday against the St. Louis Cardinals. And I can see that the Tigers have a rugby shirt giveaway on Saturday. So that'll be an interesting. That actually is a nice looking shirt. I do like the look of that Guardians rugby shirt there.
Lee, you going to be there that weekend at all?
No, I am poor, so I'm not spending outrageous amounts of money. Unfortunately, the ticket prices went up as soon as Justin Verlander's signing was announced because he's going to be making his start on the 5th here. Everybody just knew this opening weekend was when he was going to be starting. So
I bet you
could next year's budget to get us all out to the opening day.
I bet you could get a cheap ticket for that Saturday game, Lee, if you wanted that rugby shirt.
Yeah, if I really wanted, I'd have to.
And then you sell it on eBay. Get that.
Yeah. You got to leave it in the plastic in case someone pitches a perfect game, so that it'll be worth $10,000 someday.
True. That would be Scooble. That would not be Scooble's day. That would be Flaherty's day. That would be.
All right.
Can I say something for the Diamondbacks series, which is the Diamondbacks, for a reason unknown, has decided to make their bullpen entirely out of right-handed pitchers. The Tigers have left-handed bats in spades. I do not foresee this going well for the Arizona bullpen. At least I hope not. So that will be interesting to see at the very least.
I think that'll be the case for Arizona most of the year. Things not going well.
Their bullpen was bad last year, if I'm not mistaken. Too.
It was bad last year,
Yeah.
All right, and then the White Sox finally will have a series against the Marlins, and then they will have their own home opener Thursday against the Blue Jays as they continue to search for their first win of the year, and you can get a Colson Montgomery hooded jersey tank on Saturday. There you go.
Look at the opening day shirt. That shirt. That's the real merch. That's merchandise right there. It's got our 4 players on it one of which has not been on the team for more than a week at this point. But yeah, White Sox will be 3-6 the next time I talk to you guys. So I'm very excited for that.
Well, we can only hope. But anyway, I don't know. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to discuss before we say goodbye?
I want to just acknowledge real quick, after kind of complaining about the broadcast situation for the Guardians, good job by MLB not having all these cold weather cities have their opening day this week.
I realized we all started away, didn't we?
I feel like that's been
Against
worked on
playoff
the
teams.
last couple of years, where it's not like 3 years ago or whenever it was, where it was snowing in Detroit. The Guardians opened up in Detroit and it was snowing.
Oh, that was Miggy's home run there was awesome.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, I'm glad we're not doing that. That's all.
Yeah.
I appreciate at least giving it a week.
On Thursday, it was pouring rain here in Southeast Michigan.
Here too.
So,
Yep.
Not been a good day to start.
Well, I can tell you that it's going to be a high of 84 and partly cloudy in Kansas City tomorrow, so it'll be perfect weather to start the season for the Royals on Monday. So, and also, I will say one. Oh, go ahead, Ty.
I just want to say I'm just glad that baseball is back. We might be 0-3, but I have something to worry about every single day. I can go look at the box score.
Mm-hmm. And I will say when we started this endeavor, I said to myself that if we make it through the first full season and we're still doing this, I will consider it a success. So I consider it even more of a success that we are now onto our second season doing this silly little podcast.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe if you're on YouTube or Spotify or wherever.
Hit that subscribe button. That thumbs up button, 5 stars.
Week. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be a great
weather report does not look good. If you're listening on Spotify, Lita showed the weather report for like the next week in Detroit. It's not pretty. So
yeah, it looks pretty bad.
One more comment, I'm sorry, before we close out. I just want to call out that the Tigers are still not in first place in this division.
Tied for it, right?
Yeah, tied for it.
Yep.
Do we have you beat
Guardians.
I don't think they do. Not yet.
Well, we'll see what happens between the Guardians and the Mariners tonight, and see if the Tigers can grab that first place spot in the division here.
Actually,
4 games
Sam, we
into the
won't
year.
see because it's on Peacock. We won't see. So
Well, we won't see, but we'll see the box score, and we can go through the stats and see what happened. But with that being said, I think we are going to sign off, and we hope to see you next week on Easter Sunday for some more of the AL Central Rundown podcast.